My name is James Neptune. I am from the Penobscot people. We are one of 4 surviving tribes left in the state of Maine. Right now we have the Penobscot, the Passamaquoddy, the Micmac, and the Maliseet. Originally there were probably a dozen or more different tribes here in the state of Maine. When the Europeans came, they first started describing different peoples, first by how they talked. They also categorized us by the different nations that we were affiliated with. Our people, of course, were the Abenaki. It consists of the Eastern Abenaki and the Western Abenaki. Western Abenaki suffered greatly when the Europeans came. Between the 1600s and 1700s, we lost probably about 90% of our people. Most of the Eastern Abenaki survived because we were a lot further away from the pre-contact area, which was along the coast all the way down to Massachusetts. And so the Western Abenaki were the ones who suffered the most. These peoples mostly got wiped out through the diseases and stuff. The ones who did survive ran up into Canada, blended in with the tribes up there, and there were also some that homesteaded in individual family camps in upper Vermont and upper New Hampshire. So we were lucky enough to have places that we could run upriver to, or different places that were far enough away from these disease areas that we could survive. Before European contact, it was estimated there were 10,000 Penobscots. By the early 1800s, there were a little over 300 people left. So they moved us over here probably late 1800s, late 1700s. So at that time there was a lot of conflict going on with the different warring factions at that time. It wasn't that bad, and I think they really wanted us to be away from their people. So they put us over here. People call it a reservation, but here, this island, it has always been our traditional land. So it's our land anyway. Before we even had a bridge, the only way you could get over to here was a bateau. You can see the picture up here, which shows them paddling across. This one over here shows you the landing on the island. That one over there shows you the landing over in Old Town. And so that's how it used to be till the early 50s, 1950. We got our first bridge, which is right here. It was a second-hand bridge. It was brought down from Howland. And then in 1980, of course, another era of the land claim settlement, we started getting trailers to provide housing, because at that time we had just wooden structures that a lot of houses you can see now. But there was new areas opened up to be housed and to live in. And so they needed a wider, bigger bridge. So it took them from 1980 to 1987 to acquire this new bridge, the bridge we have here now. Back in 1980, when the land claim settlement went through, we became a federally recognized nation of people. We acquired the right to learn about our language and our culture in our schools. When I was going to school here, I didn't know anything about my people, because we weren't allowed by the school to learn about it. And now, right from early childhood on up, our schooling system starts from there right up to the 8th grade, up in our new elementary school. And a lot of the kids are learning their language. A lot of the culture is being brought back into their lives.
Yeah. India Louise, Jesse, Bruchak. My name is Jesse Bruchak. Niyam ziwi nialets. I've been working with the language to the point of pretty good fluency now for 20 years, about a decade with the Intoa fluent speakers. I was lucky enough to start learning it when there were still many speakers, and I was lucky enough to be exposed to them. Children born in the 1940s to the 1950s and 1960s, that generation, we don't see a lot of speakers being raised. Is saying that even within the families, that parents felt it would be better for their children to not speak their own language, but they had not produced another generation of speakers under them. So my generation has been really actively working, I think, in all our communities to couple with those speakers we still have, to learn as much as we can and help produce a new generation of speakers.
So hopefully it's up to the next generation to really integrate it and language back into that world.